What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy D Dyson. House of the Dragon episode 5 breakdown for, or from, should I say, the kings and queens of the breakdowns, new rock stars. Loved episode 5. I loved how the pacing of it, the story, how it, moves ahead, and understanding the significance of what's about to happen in later episodes and versus later seasons. Let's check this out.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Boss, and this is a breakdown of House of the Dragon episode 5, where the green wedding ends with a white knight capping a series of fumbles by losing it on the sidelines. As always, this episode was filled with subtle visual details and deeper layers of meaning, so let's break down everything you might have missed. The opening credit sequence continues to evolve slightly episode by episode. This week, the bloodline that branches forth from Alicent's dial, compared to the single branch last week, now splits into 2 branches. Alicent does have multiple children, currently Aegon and Helena, and soon more kids like Aemond and then Darren. Next week, when this show jumps ahead 10 years, we will meet some of these. The episode opens at Runestone, home of House Royce in the Vale of Arryn, where we finally meet Rhea Royce, aka Daemon's wife, whom he has called his bronze mirror, which now we see is for her literal bronze armor. Royce's armor is stamped with runes, aka runestone, to mark their descendancy from the first men. To get these specific runes, the costumer pulled them directly from the Codex Runicus, an animal skin manuscript from the year 1300, one of the oldest and best preserved texts of Scanian law. Scanian referring to an old dialect from present-day Swedish. Her cousin, Sir Gerald Royce, carries a unique sword. Now, depending on Gerald's relationship to the family, this may be the Valyrian steel sword of House Royce, Lamentation, which does play an important role in the hands of Sir Willem Royce in the coming Civil War. The Royce house words are, "We remember." So, what Daemon does may come back to haunt him. Gerald asks,
"What's today's quarry? Rabbit?
Deer.
Fine challenge."
So Rhea is on a stag hunt, just like Viserys and Rhaenyra were, but instead of a white heart, she finds a white fart blocking her path. Daemon's hooded appearance makes him look like the stranger who represents death, and gets a shout out at the end of this episode. Rhea says,
"Oh, have you at last come to consummate our marriage? The veiled sheep might be willing, even if I weren't. Our sheep are prettier, after all."
So word travels fast from Daemon's line in a small council meeting in episode 1.
In the Vale, men are said to sheep instead of women. I can assure you, the sheep are prettier.
Now, thanks to Bessie for sponsoring this video, House of the Dragon makes it perfectly clear that being a Targaryen ain't all it's cracked up to be. Yeah, there's dragons, but there's also a lot of betrayal and intrigue and pretty intense battles and, gross sex. Look, if it were me, and if I was gonna be sloshing through the battlefield drenched with the blood of my enemies, I'd rather be certain that my feet stay dry. So I would rather be wearing my Bessies. Vessi is here to keep you looking good while keeping your feet dry. Vessis are the perfect everyday shoe. They're sustainably made knit sneakers that are 100% waterproof. They are made with this Dynatex material that's super easy to clean with just a rinse of water.
No! I spilled water all over my feetsy weetsies. My oinky oinkies are bone dry like the June seed. Thanks, Bessie.
So if the weather is wet or if it's muddy, Vesties can help you. Vesties are my go-to shoes by my door. Check them out in the link below for a pair of your own Vestie shoes. Daemon spooks this horse, and it's almost by chance that Rhea's fall paralyzes her. Later on, Rhaenys justifies this by saying,
The gods are cruel.
the gods and the humans who act like they're gods. Now, there's only one quick mention of Rhea's death in the text of Fire and Blood. There came a tragic mishap of the sort that shapes the destiny of kingdoms. The bronze mirror of Runestone, Lady Rhea Royce, fell from her horse whilst hawking and cracked her skull upon a stone. Showrunner Ryan Condal interpreted that to mean Daemon must have murdered her. Though we still do not see the actual death on screen, notice that Daemon does not say a single word in this sequence, just as he didn't say anything in the final sequence of episode 3. Like then, it remains a mystery what his true motives are, and not saying anything makes him even deadlier in a weird way. But Rhea does kind of invite this killing.
I knew you couldn't finish.
A knowing jab at Damon's impotency. The man truly does have a problem finishing. Now, by the way, if the shooting location looks familiar, it is the same pass in Derbyshire in England where they shot the Princess Bride scene, where the princess and Wesley roll down the hill together. On Viserys' ship, we follow a close-up of the royal puke bucket, which Viserys waves off, but then retches anyway. Lionel Strong, we learn, has been promoted from Master of Laws to Hand of the King, and like all hands of the king, the hand wipes. Viserys' body has sort of become a harbinger for the health of the entire realm, like he has contained all of the rot inside of his body up until this point, yet when he dies, you know that rot is going to spread to everyone. Otto Hightower's men depart King's Landing marked with the Hightower sigil of the watchtower. Despite the rain, Otto ditches the carriage and just set out on horseback. I assume to put on a dramatic show after getting sacked. Fine, I'll leave and I'll get myself pneumonia. You'll notice Otto's saddle shows the watchtower beacon burning green, which gets explained later in this episode.
The beacon on the high tower. Do you know what color it glows when Old Town calls its banners to war?
Green.
Green fire almost certainly means wildfire, which the maesters of the Citadel in Old Town likely would have helped craft for the Old Town leaders to give their calls to war a unique verdigris. Now, I may be wrong, but in the text, House Hightower's sigil description, I don't think ever mentions the flame being green. It's just kind of a watchtower with a flame. But, of course, Alicent's green dress is a hugely significant gesture that goes on to define this whole faction in the coming Civil War. The Hightower is considered the Greens because of this moment. But this show goes further to retcon the color green as part of her family war cry before that. So now this is really Alicent deliberately siding with House Hightower against House Targaryen. And it could be that seeing the green flame on her father's saddle as it left King's Landing could have inspired that choice. Otto warns his daughter,
And if Rhaenyra succeeds him, war will follow, do you understand? The realm will not accept her, and to secure her claim, she'll have to put your children to the sword. She'll have no choice.
yeah, the way Rhys Ifans growls, war, pairs with the torch fire behind them, so that it looks like he's breathing fire into his daughter with this advice. This episode's title is We Like the Way. The words of House Hightower, words that do not get explicitly spoken in this episode, only implicitly with fashion choices. And here in this one, Otto instilling in his daughter that beacon-esque leadership. On Driftmark, Viserys' carriage approaches the Velaryon Castle high tide, rolling down this paved causeway. This causeway, when it is high tide, is the only way he can reach that castle. And notice how the castle roofs are beaten silver in order to shine in the sun and make this castle easier to locate from Dragonback up in the air. Viserys arrives to find Laenor and Joffrey Longmouth sparring in the yard, but no Corlys to greet him. Lyanna shows up and says Corlys is in the Hall of Nine, named for the treasures Corlys has acquired over his 9 voyages. Inside, these helmeted skulls are on display, and it looks like there are exactly 9 of them, maybe trophy skulls of a pirate that Corlys killed on each of those voyages. I would say they could be his ancestors, but no, the Valerians bury their dead rulers at sea. Now the music underneath all this at least evokes It's Always Summer Under the Sea, aka Shireen's song, the creepy song that Stannis Baratheon's daughter heard from the Patchface boy on Dragonstone back in Book 2 of Clash of Kings. Many believe this song's cryptic lyrics predicted events to come in A Song of Ice and Fire, and the traumatized Patchface boy sang these words to creepily talk about when he nearly drowned. This song's context and its connection with prophecy makes it perfect music for Viserys here, a wannabe prophet feeling like he is being dragged into the depths of the sea, much like his doomed kingdom of Illyria was. Back in the Godswood of the Red Keep, Larys Strong greets Alicent.
Malvalius, rare bloom, indigenous to Bravos. By all rights, it shouldn't be thriving here. Nature, such mystery.
A compliment to Alicent as an outsider thriving in the Red Keep. Hubert Hightower actually later echoes this metaphor.
I worried that, given leaving your father's shadow, you might wither the King's Landing sun. But you stood tall.
But hot goss Larys spills some tea.
The Grand Maester delivered a tea to the princess's chambers.
Tea.
Yes.
And we know Larys loves to gossip because in episode 3 he voluntarily joined the women in the tent to be part of that tea party. Now, along with that row of skulls in Corlys' throne room, we see that he has his own dollhouse model, the way Viserys does of Illyria. His collections also include the mask of Kratos the Crab Beater, which one of the directors confirmed to me was inspired by the mask of the Sons of the Heartbeat. Rhaenys arrives and grabs Viserys' rotting hand, causing him to wince. Eve Best does a great job showing some mental math of how long Laenor and Rhaenyra would have to wed in bed before a succession crisis created by Viserys' death would kick in. Viserys allows any kids born of Rhaenyra and Leonor to bear the name of Velaryon upon birth at first, but he says the firstborn must take the name Targaryen when they ascend to the Iron Throne, which Corlys and Rhaenys agree to, probably because they know Viserys will be dead at that point and they'll have more freedom to sway what name the new monarch takes. Rhaenyra and Leonor speak in code about their appetites, and Rhaenyra proposes that they marry, but with a discreetly open relationship. After Rhaenys returns from Viserys, she washes her hands, something not commonly done in this whole unsanitary world, but it signals that she totally senses his coming death rattle loud and clear, and Rhaenys warns that bloodshed is inevitable.
Knives will come out for her husband, and for their heirs.
Remember, Otto similarly warned Alicent that children would be put to the sword, but Rhaenys says knives, not swords, as her concern is that young princes and princesses won't be attacked by soldiers with swords necessarily, but perhaps a more treacherous, more intimate attack, as gets hinted at in the trailer footage for this scene. But Corlys reasons,
our house controls the realm's navy and half its dragons.
So far the series has shown us the dragons of Syrax and Caraxes, and one scene of Sea Smoke, also a new dragon this episode, but overall it's just a reminder that the Velaryons control half of the overall dragon power in Westeros. Leonor's lover is Joffrey, aka the Knight of Kisses, seen at his side during the Stepstones War Council in episode 3. He says,
Think of the tournament, with the feast, the battles at sea.
His mention of the tournament alerts some book readers because in Fire and Blood, it's at the tourney when Criston attacks Joffrey, so this show totally surprises us by moving it up to the pre-wedding feast. Sir Criston approaches Rhaenyra on the sail back with his armor removed, as Rhaenyra did to him that first night they hooked up. He mentions the port of Sunspear with ships filled with oranges and cinnamon heading to Essos. Sunspear is a seat of Dorne at the southern tip of Westeros. But Rhaenyra turns down Criston's proposal to run away with him.
I am the crown. Criston. The Iron Throne looms larger than me, larger than anyone in my family. Aegon the Conqueror, united 7 kingdoms, and put them on a path.
Which is interesting because Rhaenyra used to be a girl eager to flee responsibility and eat lemon cakes for the rest of her life, but now she mentions Aegon the Conqueror, suggesting Viserys' lectures about Aegon's Song of Ice and Fire, inscribed into the dagger, have sobered her to the weight of her duty. Alicent summons Sir Criston to ask if there was some truth to Rhaenyra and Daemon, but Sir Criston, dull, confesses to sleeping with her himself.
I would ask only this, that rather than gelding me and having me tortured, you would sentence me mercifully to death.
Despite the text of this moment focused on Criston's willingness to die, we focus on Alicent's face. Actress Emily Carey conveying her betrayal that Rhaenyra would lie to her in the Godswood. Remember, Rhaenyra swore on her mother's soul over that. In Viserys' chamber, there's some close-ups of old Valyria model. We see that city surrounding Viserys as he lies gasping weakly, sinking into his chair, as if he is sinking with that kingdom into the sea. The younger Maester Orwyle says,
If I may, Grand Maester, I took the liberty of preparing a fresh set of herbal poultices that might be more effective.
That will not be necessary, Orwyle. The leechings have always brought His Grace relief.
But Melos denies an alternative herbal remedy, instead preferring these medieval leechings. Just another example of the Maesters of Old Town accelerating the king's death, either by incompetence or by design. Viserys speculates on how he will be remembered, since he never fought or conquered or suffered a defeat.
It hardly makes a good song, does it? To be sung at feasts in 100 years. 500.
By wondering what kind of man he'd become had he been tested in a crucible, Viserys unwittingly makes an argument in favor of living one's life removed from the concern of legacy. That if people tell stories about your life 100 years from now, it really means that your life was filled with drama, and if you were a ruler, a lot of people likely suffered as a result of that drama. There's just something to be said for living a boring life. Yet, as Viserys falls asleep in the milk of the poppy, we cross-dissolve into the clouds and dragons. It's almost as if Viserys is drifting into another dragon dream, and that is one way he will be remembered. Viserys the dreamer. It was his dreams and his indecision over what they meant that really best defines his legacy. We see these 2 dragons soaring toward King Landing, Leonor's dragon, Sea Smoke, who we met in episode 3, and this new one. This is Rhaenys' dragon, Meleys, a she-dragon with scarlet scales and pink membranes on the wings, but also they added streaks of gold, as if to show how the queen who never was deserves a golden crown but never received one. Sir Harold Westerling announces the wedding attendees, starting with the Lannisters, Jason Lannister leading that group, and his brother Tywin Lannister to his side. Jefferson Hall plays both of these brothers, and you can see how they use VFX to double his face and map it onto Tywin. Rhaenyra, with rubies in her hair, finds a way to insult Jason's pride.
Thank you, Lord Jason. I could think of no better man than Selena.
Sir Gerald Royce cuts in front of the Hightowers, but both are cut off by the arrival of the Valarians. As Laenor steps forward, there is a shot from the throne's point of view showing Sir Criston in the bottom right-hand corner, throwing his head back in agony and frustration. Then Daemon crashes the party, and right after Viserys signals for a new seat to be added, the shot frames Rhaenyra to be perfectly lined up with the Iron Throne, as if to say through Daemon will ultimately be her path to acquiring and securing that throne. Also notice that at the end of the table, Daemon now faces directly across from Laena, so these two are seated directly looking at each other, able to make eyes. Then Alicent interrupts the king's speech with her show-stopping arrival wearing Hightower green, and while most see this as scandalous, the guests from House Hightower immediately stand up proud. Hubert, with a wide grin, actually when Alicent first stood in that doorway, she now most aligned with the Iron Throne, showing how for her, this is her most regal. And while everyone in this hall stands for the queen, Daemon remains seated the whole time, even as she passes by. Viserys continues with the speech, how he hopes to usher in a second age of dragons, which gets a round of applause, but notably not from Daemon to Velaryon, that's Corlys's brother, who argued against Daemon's dragon tactics in episode 3, and not from Hubert Hightower, who, as the Lord of Oldtown, only has a begrudging respect for dragon power in Westeros. As they dance, the bride and groom say,
I was never much of a dancer.
It's not much different to combat.
We shall hope for a different outcome.
Foreshadowing the way this wedding dance will transform into bloody combat, but also following the motif of a dance of the dragons, which is the term for the Civil War. As Hobart tells Alicent that Oldtown stands with her, in the bottom left corner, you can see Daemon staring daggers into her back. Sir Gerald approaches Daemon to accuse him of killing Rhea, but Daemon says he plans to petition Lady Jane Eyre for his inheritance of Runestone. Lady Jane will have an important role to play in the upcoming conflict. Daemon and Laena make eyes at each other and meet on the dance floor.
Has anybody ever told you you're nearly as pretty as your brother?
Laena's gold necklace pattern looks a lot like the interlocking circles of the necklace that Daemon gave Rhaenyra, and I'm pretty sure that's by design. Joffrey Longmount deduces from Criston's longing stares that he must be Rhaenyra's side piece, and he tells him,
We should swear to each other to guard them and their secrets. Because if those are kept safe, and so are we all.
what just happened in this close-up? Was it Joffrey passing too close, requiring Criston to move his sword? Did Joffrey brush his hand past Chris's ton in a suggestive manner to try to close off the loose ends of the square? Sir Harwin Breakbone Strong tries to dance with Rhaenyra, but Daemon cuts in. But Daemon and Rhaenyra now openly challenge each other in Valyrian, a language that you gotta imagine at least some of the Velaryon cousins will know. They're doing this in plain sight of everyone, even Viserys spots them through the crowd when Daemon forcefully grabs her head before they disappear behind all the other dancers. This episode then pulls an awesome bait and switch with these sudden screams, which we assume at first come from Rhaenyra or a woman watching something horrible happening to her, but nope, it is Sir Criston going apeshit on the Night of Kisses. Again, in the text, this fight takes place in the tournament days after this, when Criston hits Joffrey in the helm with Morningstar and puts him in a coma for 6 days until he dies. The fact that it happens here isn't just a surprise to book readers, it's a stain on the wedding of Rhaenyra and Laenor, and bloodshed between knights and early factions of the Civil War. Lionel Strong wordlessly signals to Breakbones to go retrieve Rhaenyra, and Breakbones plows through this crowd, ultimately throwing Rhaenyra over his shoulder and rushes her out. You could also read this as a non-verbal go-ahead from Lord Strong for his son to make a move on this princess in other ways. At least that might be how Breakbones interprets it. Criston caves in Joffrey's face, and we won't show you, but we can show you this woman behind Sir Criston who, upon looking at Joff's face, nearly faints. And Laenor reveals his true affections in his response to Joffrey. Yeah, notice Joffrey's hand totally moved on its own there, so the guy may still be alive, at least barely, for this final moment, or maybe it's just rigor mortis. Either way, the name Joffrey will remain important to Laenor for years to come. So instead of a wedding ceremony 7 days after this, Viserys decides to move it up to that night, before the mess is even cleared. He may be reacting to the nosebleed he got during this scuffle, not sure whether he has hours to live or not. So the Septon prays,
Other, warrior, smith, maiden, crone, stranger.
Yes, you'll notice warrior is spoken right over the shot of Sir Criston unsheathing his sword in the Godswood, making this both a wedding prayer and a funeral prayer. But Alicent stops Sir Criston from killing himself, though you'll notice Alicent also appears at Rhaenyra's side during the wedding vows. So even though the editing makes it seem like it's happening at the same time, this moment in the Godswood must have happened before the ceremony, and Alicent has already forged a new relationship with Sir Criston before that wedding scene, and done so behind Rhaenyra's back. The king collapses again, and as they attend to Viserys, Joffrey's blood remains pooled up on the floor in the foreground, and a rat crawls up to slurp it up. A vampire rat, I guess, because it's ignoring the bounties of food on all the tables still. Remember, we saw rats in the Red Keep last episode, and the teeth of Balarion's skull, and on the bedpost looking down at Alicent. And like those rats, this rat represents the rot that is now spreading and spreading in this house. Like the rat in the final shot of Martin Scorsese's The Departed, this world does not really belong to the living ultimately, but to the scavengers who have to pick up the pieces after these self-interested a-holes kill each other off. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at EAVOS. Follow New Rockstars and subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Again, I really love this episode because it just reminds me so much of Game of Thrones, of all of the Easter eggs, so to speak, that'll hint at this war that's coming. And it's just chess pieces after chess pieces, chess move after chess move, and how to react to certain brash things that happen with Sir Criston killing Joffrey. Like, that was a brash thing. Now we have to see how everything gets handled after that, which they pushed the wedding up and they already got married, and they both just like bloody and crying. And because what they talked about on the beach, how it sounded so good that, hey, we're going to marry, but we're going to do other people, and it sounded good. And then this is what it really looks like at the end. Like, this is what you marry into, is politics. It's so much that's going to go on. Your life is going to be forever altered. I love that. This is Game of Thrones at its finest. House of the Dragon. One of the best episodes since episode 1. I'm here for it, and I'm here for this breakdown. So much Easter eggs, so many visual Easter eggs that they just break down, and I'm here for it all. So, you guys enjoyed my reaction to House of the Dragon, episode 5. Episode 5, breakdown, Easter eggs, and everything that we missed. Subscribe to my channel, post comment down below, like the video. It's your boy, D. Dyson. Peace.